Welcome to our video. We're going to show you today how to restring a steel string guitar. My name is Jeff. I own Watermelon Music Store. We do hundreds of these all the time. There's a couple tools that will make the job easier for sure. We like this Dunlop string winder. It makes taking strings off and putting strings on very quick. What I will generally do is start on one end, loosen up strings, pull them off.
Is there a right way and a wrong way to do this?
There's certainly forwards and backwards. You want to make sure you're not tightening the string, but that you're loosening it. What I usually do at this point is I'll take all the strings, I'll coil them up like this. Whoops. Now we're going to pull the bridge pins out. That's another little hidden trick of the string winder. A notch right here. That notch is there specifically to pull out bridge pins. So you carefully put it underneath and you can see it just pulls them up there.
So these ones are coming out easily, but is it always that way?
No, occasionally if a bridge pin gets stuck too far, you can reach your hand inside and push the pin out from the bottom. If you have to, you can use needle nose pliers or something and try to draw it up straight, but it tends to put marks in the bridge pins. D'addario has a great program. They will melt them down, process them, recycle the strings. It's a great thing. Once you get the strings off, what I like to do, since this is the only time you can do it, is treat the fingerboard and just polish the rest of the guitar. We have a couple cloths here that we use specifically for fingerboards. The most common thing to use probably is lemon oil. This is D'addario Planet Waves. We put a little bit on the fingerboard, and then with an oil cloth, just sort of rub it in. You sort of spa treatment for your guitar. We've pulled probably a pound of fingerboard gunk off of guitars from time to time. This one's pretty clean. This is one that we have for sale here in the store. It's a used guitar, but we'll get it nice. Now we will switch cloths when we go to polish because we don't want to get the oil on the rest of the surface, just on the fingerboard. So I've got a microfiber cloth here I'm going to use.
We'll also be using a spray cleaner by D'addario.
Shout out to Music Nomad as well. They're a company in Sonoma, California that makes some really high quality cleaning products for guitars and other instruments. This is another that we use in the store a lot. When the strings are off, it's pretty much the only time you can get to the kind of nooks and crannies here. Once we get off the quarantine here, people should know that this is a service we provide for free if you buy strings from us. We'll clean your guitar, we'll treat the fingerboard, we'll get it all nice and clean. You should never use something like Pledge or other household cleaners and things like that. Instrument finishes are usually designed for instrument cleaner or polish. All right, this is looking pretty good to me. Now we're going to start to put the strings on. This time around, on this nice guitar, we're going to use a set of Elixir coated phosphor bronze light gauge strings. This is one of our most popular strings to sell. It's what I use personally on my guitar at home.
Me too.
Some companies go from the smallest to the biggest. Other companies will put the biggest and go to the smallest. You just got to pay attention as you go. I like to start on the big string and work my way toward the treble string. So I'm going to flip these over backwards. Carefully unwind it so you don't poke yourself in the eye. We're going to take one of those bridge pins, pop the ball end of the string right by the hole, and then you want to use the notched side of the bridge pin. Pull it in there. If you tug it, it shouldn't pop up again. I will repeat this process.
Love a blooper reel.
Sometimes if the pin won't stay in, you can push it down there and give it a little twist. All right, now comes the art. Everybody has different ways of doing this. What I will typically do, run this end of the string through the little hole. And the trick is to figure out how much excess string to leave on the other end. This is how I usually gauge it, by how much slack is left right there. Your guitar might vary just a little bit depending on the size of the peg and everything else. Once you've selected the amount of slack, We'll put this winder on here. Make sure you're winding so that the string comes to the inside and down toward the nut. You don't want it to go this way toward the outside. As you wind, you want to keep pressure on the string, keep it nice and tight. When it comes around, you want to make sure that the windings go down, not up. It'll help it from getting tangled and maintain a better break angle where it runs up to the nut here.
Is there an ideal amount of windings you want to see?
If it's too few windings, the string will likely break. If there's too many windings and it starts to bunch up on itself and go over, you've gone too much. Usually we shoot for somewhere between 2 and 4 wraps around the post. I like to trim it nice and short so that it doesn't catch on anything or tear up your case or your gig bag. Those wraps are nice and tight next to each other. They go downward. And then we'll trim that as close as we can. Again, the amount of slack is right here. That's just something, the more times you do it, the better you get. Now that we've switched to the other side of the headstock, again, make sure you're turning the right way. You can see the string goes up, over the tuner, and around. That's correct. We're going to use a Korg pitch clip. It's one of the tuners we use around the store all the time. It's about 20 bucks, real easy thing to use. As you hit each string, you can see it'll tell you clearly what string it is. You need to know the names of the notes, but we're tuning the A string here. Once we get to green, it flashes and that string is in tune. Now they're going to stretch out a little bit, so usually when you put new strings on, you got to tune it a couple of times. There's the open E. So if you've done everything correctly, if you've put the windings on nice and tight, if you've sort of stretched the string as you've put it on, it will maintain tuning okay, but new strings are always going to stretch out. They're going to sort of settle on the posts as well as the wire itself. So expect when you put a brand new set of strings on, even if you do everything correctly, for the next couple of hours, the strings are likely going to go flat. You'll have to keep tuning them. There are a couple tricks we'll use. You can grab a string and gently stretch it. Now if we look, we see that's gone down about a half a step. If you're getting ready to play a show or you're doing a recording and you've just put new strings on, this is a way that you can get them to set a little faster.
Is it possible to break these strings while you're doing this?
It's possible. You don't have to tug them real hard. You just want to kind of simulate the tension that's going to be on them over a little bit of time. Now that we've got all the strings on, tuned, what I will usually do is take the guitar. This is the rag I was using, or the cloth I was using before for polish. This is a beautiful guitar. There you go. Your guitar's restrung. Sounds better than ever. Thanks.